Shalom and welcome to the weekend edition of the Daily Dose of Hebrew. We're looking today at Jeremiah chapter 6, verse 23. You may recall in verse 22 we were starting a new mini oracle where the Lord was announcing that he is raising up a great nation, a people from afar, from the land of the north, who is going to come and chasten his people because of their infidelities. And here in verse 23, we're going to get a more detailed description of this people. So let's go ahead and read the text in Hebrew as we get started. Keshet vakidon yachaziku akzarihu velo yerachemu kolam kayam yechameh ve'al susim yirkavu aruk ka'ish la milchama alaich bat Zion. So we start off with keshet, and this is the word for a bow, like a bow and arrow. So this is the bow and, just a regular conjunction here, bow and, this is the word, kidon is usually the word for javelin or spear. Some people think it might be related to the word for scimitar, but that might be a little bit later. But it's regularly used for a spear in other contexts, or javelin, something that you would throw. So two important weapons. So bow and spear, they grasp. Now what do we have here? We have a yod at the beginning. We have an formative down here, which is going to tell us we have an imperfect. And it's going to be a 3MP. And this is a hifil. And it's from the verb hazak, which you can see the hate, zayin, kaf here. We know it's a hifil. Well, we have the pathak, but that's not a sure indicator because we do have the hate here, but you do have the herik yod in the middle as well. So that's a pretty good indication. And hazak, which in the cow usually means to be strong, in the hifil takes the sense of to make something strong, to grasp it firmly, to take hold of something firmly. So they will take hold firmly. What are they taking hold of? Well, their bow and their spear. So this is the people, the Babylonian soldiers, we know from the context of who that's referring to. And then we have akzari. Now here, this is just an adjective, the whole thing together. This is not a performative or anything else, but this is an adjective which means cruel. Cruel he is, cruel him, literally, or cruel he. We have to supply the verb is. So he is cruel. You notice we've gone from a plural over here for the individuals to over here using a singular. This could be either the individual soldiers or the people as a whole. This nation is cruel. And not, once again, we have an imperfect 3MP. This time it's going to be a PL from the verb racham, which means to have compassion, to have mercy, and regularly used in the PL in that sense here at all. So they do not have mercy. They will not have mercy. A slightly future sense. It could almost be a present tense because the Lord is presenting this vision as something right in front of them. But they will not have mercy or show compassion. Their voice or their sound could be either one here. This is just cold plus a suffix. It's a 3MP suffix. Like the sea. So we have like plus the article here. You can see your pathak and a dagesh in the yod here. And then yam, of course, which means the sea or the ocean. Like the sound of the ocean, it roars. Just a yod at the front, nothing at the end. So this is an imperfect third masculine singular. This is a cal as well from the verb hama, just like these three consonants, heith, mem, he, which means to roar, to make a loud noise. We saw this in chapter 5, verse 22, referring to waves, again in a similar kind of a context. So their sound or their voice is like the roars like the ocean. And upon horses, susim, one of the first words you probably learned in Hebrew, sus. So upon horses, they will ride. So once again, we have a yod and an u. We have an imperfect third masculine plural from a rakav. This one's just a good old cal, meaning to ride. So they ride upon horses. Aruk. Now you see the shurik that shows up right there, and between the second and third consonant. Usually a good sign that you're dealing with a participle, in this case masculine singular participle, but a passive participle. and this is a kal from the verb arak, which means to set in order. So here it's they are something that is set in order, something that is arranged. So it might be, in this context of soldiers, might be equipped or prepared or set in order or something like that, like a man for battle. So equipped, prepared, ready to fight, like a man for battle against you. So it's just a preposition al plus our suffix here, the aik suffix. This is a 2fs suffix referring to the following: O daughter of Zion. In other words, the people of Jerusalem, the Judaites, those who are living as the people of Judah here. So they're coming as soldiers who are arrayed against, like a man for battle against them. Wow. So quite a scary description. If you were listening to this, it would be something that's meant to strike a fear in the hearts of the people, obviously in the desire to see them respond. Well, let's go ahead and hide our work here, or actually squeeze our text down, and look at a couple of translations here from the Jewish Publication Society, 1917. They lay hold on bow and spear. A little bit weak for laying hold, could be stronger than that, but bow and spear, they are cruel. Here they've made this a plural. It's he is cruel, but yet to be consistent, you could translate it as they. And have no compassion. They have no compassion. They show no mercy. Their voice or their sound is like the roaring sea. Roars like the sea. And they ride upon horses, set in array, for this word here, arranged, as a man for war, against thee, against you, O daughter of Zion. So pretty straightforward translation. There's not a lot of variation, but we're going to see a couple little things. In the New Revised Standard Version, they grasp the bow and the javelin. I like that a little bit better. They're holding firmly onto it because they're coming in for battle now. They're ready. They are cruel and have no mercy. Their sound is like the roaring sea. They ride on horses, equipped. Once again, that's a good word here. Like a warrior. Now, the word is just man, but obviously in this context, they're interpreting what that man is doing. So the use of warrior here, there are other words for warriors in Hebrew, but in this context, that's a decent translation for it as long as you understand the context. Equipped like a warrior for battle against you, O daughter of Zion. And then one more, which was just a little bit different in the New Jerusalem Bible. They are armed with bow and spear. Interesting translation for Hazak. Oh, okay, I won't argue with that too much. They are cruel and pitiless. No mercy, no compassion. Pitiless, that's a good word for showing no compassion over here. Their noise, their sound, their noise is like the roaring of the sea. They are riding horses. They are ready to fight against you as one man. Now, this is what I found just a little funny. Against you, daughter of Zion. So they've kind of repeated that. But they've taken this here as a man, and they've said they are arranged, ready to battle against you as one man. So I'm not quite sure that that's the main idea. I think it's more they're like equipped like a man for battle. So like a warrior for battle, as a man for war, set in array as a man for war. That seems to make a little more sense. I don't think the text is trying to get the idea of they're coming together in such a unified approach that they're almost like one man against you. So that is just a little fine point. I just find this one just a little bit surprising, and it's not wrong, but I don't think it gets the best sense. I like one of these other ones a little bit better here. The Lord is trying to impress his people. This is a serious thing. You haven't listened to me. The punishment is coming. My desire is that you would repent and turn away. But if you don't, I will have to accomplish my purpose in teaching you that it's a serious thing to rebel against the living God, especially for those who are called his people. So now, what's going to be interesting, one last comment here, is that this expression here, I mentioned in the last video that verses 22, 23, and 24 are found almost verbatim in chapter 50 of Jeremiah in verses 41 to 43. And this verse is repeated in that section as well, chapter 50, verse 42, I think it is, except for this very last phrase here, because instead of Bat Zion, you're going to find Bat Babel, which is, O daughter of Babylon, because the Lord is going to bring this very same threat. Once he has used the Babylonians to accomplish his purpose, he's going to bring this very same threat against the Babylonians themselves, because the Lord will bring justice for his people, and this time against the Babylonians. Very interesting passage. If you want to look that up, it's in chapter 50, verses 41 to 43. We'll check back with us soon as we continue working through this text in the weekend edition of the Daily Dose of Hebrew. Shalom.